it seemed like for a while there in the feds and even in the state, San Quentin, Chino, it's like you guys, you white boys were not scared to stab anything.
No, and it's your brutality is what means you have to display less brutality.
Right. Someone told us that.
Yeah.
It's like set an example.
Yeah. So I got 5 guys I have to stab if I just go scratch them. Or I got 1 I got to stab if I just look like an animal on him. You know, and everybody sees that. Next word goes around and it travels fast.
Right.
You know, leave that dude alone, get out of his way. He's an animal, man. What he's going to do to you. And, yeah.
Wow. Do you feel blessed now that you didn't catch a case? Like, do you feel like you survived? Because, you know, like now there's cameras everywhere. I don't know. I just feel like there's no getting away with murder anymore. Maybe there is.
Well, see, in the feds, they got all the cameras in the feds. So here's the way it works, all right? A guy will catch a murder in the feds, all right? They go, boom, they put the work in, they get the murder. They don't get charged right away. Everything gets written up, all of that gets done. Then they get sent to ADX. They're either doing an 8-year term or an 11-year term, okay? So now they're in ADX. That case is not gone back to court. We don't see most of these guys are lifers too. We don't see these guys to know if they ever got hit with it when they tried to get out because they're not getting out yet.
Right.
But they're in ADX, and here's what happens. They get used to being in the cell. They get used to that TV in the cell. All right. So this story, I'm on the plane, you know, Con Air, and the guy next to me is Star. He's AIM, American Indian Movement. This is what happened to him. He's in one of these California, not Victorville, one of the California federal prisons. Man, I forget the name of it. I'm getting old, long in the tooth. But he's in there, and one of the Native Americans did something. There was something he did to a kid, and Star ran in the cell, killed him, poked his eyes out, and did all of that, right? So Star's now getting out of ADX. He's on the plane next to me. He goes, yeah, I'm going back to ADX. I told him, what are you going to do? He goes, well, I'm going to kill somebody. Wow. I said, you got somebody in mind? Right now I'm trying to fill him out. Is it me?
Yeah, right.
You know, yeah, I'm going to kill somebody. And he's kind of crazy. You know, he's got that crazy native crazy going on. I told him, all right, Star. He goes, yeah. I said, you guys got somebody in mind? He goes, well, probably my cellie. I'm okay, go. Whew. I'm off the leash. I ain't gonna have to get him with this dude right when we get off the plane.
Yeah.
So what he does is we go to Coleman, USP 1 at that point. So we get there, they put him in the cell. They put me in the hole because of the gang stuff. They put him in the cell on the yard. He walks in, he drops his bunk, everything on the ground, his bedroll, and he tells the dude on the bunk, get off the bunk, fight me for the bottom bunk. The winner gets the bunk. And the guy goes, I'm not fighting you for the bunk. This is my bunk. So Star just kills him. And goes back to ADX, and he's got his TV, and he's doing his thing, and he's happy. So you got to watch out for those dudes hitting the yard. And them USPs, they're hitting the yard with that mentality. All they're looking for is a way back. Oh, my God. And then you take, I'm transferring, I'm going through Atlanta, so I'm in the transfer hub of it, right? And I'm in the cell. And there's 2 Guamanians that are brothers in the cell across from me. And then there's a white dude and a black dude. And the white dude doesn't have enough sense to keep his mouth shut. So they ate his heart.
What?
Yeah, it was weird. They butchered him, and he didn't know that the other guy was a brother when he started with the one guy. So they butchered him. They cut him open. When they were throwing his intestines against the window, and then when the cop came to the door, one of the brothers took the heart and ate his heart. Yeah.
Now those people are why we need maximum security prisons without keys. Without keys.
You know
now,
what I mean?
Something like
Feed
that.
them with a slingshot.
Yeah, right. Now, did those people? And I swear you never hear about that in the news. It feels like you hear about state stabbings, like when somebody gets killed in California prison.
Here and there
you hear
a little bit sometimes.
But I feel like you never hear about murders.
It's like the feds don't have the news. Yeah, they don't get the publicity.
Yeah, that seems strange, doesn't it?
Not to me. It's the feds.
Yeah, they don't want to let this leak. So when somebody eats a guy's heart, do they send them to ADX, I assume? ADX Florence,
yeah, those guys got that next bus ticket, plane ticket right into ADX, I'm sure. You know?
So they're there, and they're never getting out, and they're completely isolated. They're in their own cell.
Well, you see in the penitentiaries, you know somebody that's got a body when they're in a hole. You know anyways, but if you just get there and you want to know who's got the bodies, you can watch how they take them out. And they got a lieutenant and sergeant escort, 3-man escort. So they take them out. They're all gaffled up big time, might have a pole on them. They're walked, and they got all the cops around them.
Wow.
You know?
So they're literally like on a leash almost.
Well, funny story, when you should say that, LA County Jail, I was in high power, and that's what they would do. They would come in Wayside, in Supermax. So they'd come to my door, they would open it up that much, all right, and put my hands out, and they'd put these cuffs on, and they'd put the leash around the cuff, and then they would put this belt around my waist with a hoop, and the leash would go through the hoop, through my legs, come out the hoop in the back. They'd pull it tight. Your hands would go down against your waist with that leash, and they'd walk you like a dog through the hallway. It was crazy. I'd just be barking at people. And
I imagine, they see that you tried to kill a guard, so
yeah, it's all bad.
that follows you everywhere you go.
Everywhere you go. Well, I had the deal in Long Beach courthouse, too. I should have brought that paperwork. I didn't. I showed you the paperwork where they brought me in. The sheriff's told the state. So they brought me into the courtroom, and I was going to get married. So I wanted to extend the court date, right? And the judge wouldn't let me. And the judge was a bitch that everybody wanted. So I just went after the judge. And I ended up with the two sheriffs and marshals or whatever getting on me right there. So I was fighting with them in the courtroom, and they're dragging me out of there, and I'm fighting with them thinking that's going to get the whole thing extended and all that. She just kept right on sentencing me.
Oh, my God.
I'm touching everything in the courtroom on the way out. Bing, bing.
Wow. Yeah, it's like you didn't have any respect for your own life. That's when I hear people, when I hear these stories of just madness, the first thing I think about is this person doesn't care about their life.
Yep.
They have no respect for other people's lives, but they have no value in their own life.
Yeah, you can't have value in your own life and do some of the things that there's it. And then that's also good too, because somewhere something happened that made you lose that value in human life.
Mm-hmm.
Just like I tell people with crime and everything, there was a point in your life where you wouldn't have done any of this stuff. Okay. So I want to take people back in some of my programs to that point where they changed that first time they made a different decision. Mm-hmm. Like you were going to get high. You weren't getting high up to that point, that first time you got high. So what were you doing before then to keep from wanting to get high? And on that day you made that choice, what was that trigger? What was around you that made you make a different choice that day? And we can start working on that stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And you force people to really think, really reflect on your life. Yep. Go back. Wow, that's incredible. I don't even know. I have so many things to ask you, but I need to reset. It's such an incredible, tragic, but also kind of inspiring story in many ways. Yeah. I learned something today from you just saying, like, your wife telling you just do the next right thing. Yeah. A guy like me could apply that to whatever my issues are going on. That, trust me, these are champagne problems compared to the issues that you have and had, right? Like,
but the solutions are the same.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and it's do the next right thing. And if you could just stay conscious of that. Yeah. It just takes discipline though too, right? Like
conditioning.
Yeah, conditioning, right. It's it's rewiring your neurology, your neurological pathways.
Pretty soon that next right thing thought is I have my little brother today. I was dropping him off to watch my stuff while I'm down here, but I had him today, and he'd been to the pen. His is a unique and silly story. He knew all the names because of me bringing him by the house when I was out, all the AB and everything. So he knows all the names. He hits the feds. They throw him in Victorville. That ain't no lightweight prison.
No.
He hits Victorville. Timmy Alexander he's up. He's going to become AB. My brother hits that prison, steps down and tells everybody he's Aryan Brotherhood. And he's not. Convinces the whole yard that he is and takes the keys. Timmy comes to him and starts to question him a little bit. The only one that would even risk doing it. So he slaps Timmy in the mouth on the yard in front of everybody. Tells him, I'll make sure you never get in. Who the are you to question me on whether or not I may be? You'll never get in. You want in, just get in line and get right. And ran that yard for 2 years.
That was your brother?
Yeah.
Holy
He wasn't AB. It caught up with him eventually. It always does,
What's the status now? Do you hear? Okay, so this is what I wanted to ask you, which I didn't want to prod you too hard in the main episode, but who was your gang? Like, who did you end the bulk of your time when you were settled in there? Were you a Nazi lowrider?
Most of my life, Nazi lowrider.
Okay.
Nazi lowrider really isn't something you have to quit, get away from. They went through a phase where they were testing everybody, and it way back before that first time, and I was in Ironwood before on the other story. Mm-hmm. So they're in there, and I don't know who they think they are. I'm down to less than 90 days. And then Wigmo out of San Bernardino, I get before I get there in the county jail, I get given a number for this, her name is Spunduck. And she's the microphone for the ride. She's the one transferring all the calls. This is all known too. All the calls and doing all of this. So Blue would cut like 3 throats a month, whether they needed it or not. He was just vicious with it.
Wow.
But he was an idiot. But he gives me the number. It says, call Spunduck, and she's the microphone. She's the one handling everything. Okay, fine. Spunduck is Wigmo's girlfriend. I don't know this. I don't even care. I'm calling and doing messages. Wigmo's got the keys in the hole, and I'm out on the sea yard. And he sends word out for me to go back. And I got less than 90 days left, so I'm not supposed to go back. But I know there's a child molester that's in the trade area where I go to trade, right? And to the machine shop. And I give the cop, tell him, look, I'm going to cut this dude's throat. He goes, what I'll do is you bring as many people as you can around you. He goes, all right, I'll put all of you guys back there that I don't know who it is. It's one of you guys. And that way you'll beat it.
They're down like that.
Yeah. That way you'll beat it. So
did you know the cop? Did you know he was going to be cool with it, or did you just?
That's who told us who the child molester was.
Wow.
So
that's wild.
So
because child molesters generally they shouldn't be. They're not on the main line.
They are. They get thrown out there, and then they get
mauled.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they get pointed out, and then they get done. You know.
Wow. Okay. Go ahead.
So I cut his throat. Boom.
What does that mean?
He didn't die. It means I grabbed him with a razor and.
Yeah.
Cut his throat.
Yeah. He didn't die?
No, he didn't die. They stitched him up. He zippered up. That's all. And I go back to the hole. Okay. So I'm down there. Now, my friend, I just talked to him out there too, Sammy. As a matter of fact, today he's going into a clean and sober living program to try to get cleaned up because of the way I rode him right now. Called him all kind. I just rode him hard because I knew I could. But he was back there telling him, look, Ronnie's not like these other guys you're calling back that are coming back here. You jump on them and they go down there. It's going to be all ugly. So Wigmo was trying, when I got back there, I brought tobacco back and everything for everybody. Wigmo was trying to get a knife. And then there's Zach, who was Wigmo's cellie. Now, Zach, I knew from a long time. He was in LR. I was going to try to make parole. I was in Victorville. I had to go to parole in San Bernardino. So I call this number and I say, hey, and some guy keeps answering. And I go, look, man, he goes, is this Ronnie? I go, yeah. He goes, you just trying to get to parole? I go, yeah. He goes, if you can make it from here over to here in the next half hour, he goes, I'll take you down there because I'm going. It was a long ways and that was a good run. But you know what? I'm going to do this because I'm trying to make parole. So I run in that 100-degree temperature and I run and I get all the way over there and he don't show up. So I call again and there he is. And I tell him, check this out, Zach. I've never seen you. You obviously know who I am, but if I ever see you, I'm going to believe that God brought you to me for punishment and I ain't letting the big guy down. So about 5 days later, we go by this dude Charlie's house. My brother's with me. I knock on the door. I ask for Charlie, and the dude that answered, blonde hair guy, tattoos. He said, no, Charlie's not here. I'm all right. I walk out. My brother goes, you know who that was? I go, no. He goes, that was Zach. So I go back, knock on the door, and light him up right there in the doorway. Lit him up good. So he was there, Wigmo's cellie. I'm out on the yard, but I don't know that these two called me back. I don't know who. I just know when they come out to the yard with all the NLR, whichever one called me back, I'm going to know it. So they're all coming out. They're giving me hugs. And here comes Wigmo. I know it. Bam. Here comes Zach. I know it. Bam. So we just get to getting it right there.
Really?
I'm fighting with those dudes. My rule is until the mini goes off, you don't stop. So I made them use everything. They went through the gun that had all the different layers of tear gas and all of that. They're shooting everything. The yard's full of smoke. And finally I hear it. Clack. That's the mini 14. So the next shot will kill you.
Right.
So I bend down. Wigmo bends down. There's tear gas right here. And I'm mad. I'm still steaming. So I grab this tear gas, and I don't realize it burns at 450 degrees. Oh. I grab it, I throw it at him. My hand's all blistered. But now I'm thinking if I show pain, he won't grab it and throw it back. So I squat down. He grabs it, burns his hand too, and realizes what just went on. Gets mad. He jumps up. We run to the middle again, and we're fighting. And they come with these like fire extinguisher things full of tear gas, and they hit. And now all the ground is full of all these hot balls because they're shooting these rubber balls and they hit the tear gas comes over a stream. comes over my shoulder, hits him right in the face. So he's out there, got a hot foot, and he's doing this, right? He can't see it. I just start laughing. But I ended up.
You're lucky you never got shot by the cops in all your time. How many times do you think you got put down on the yard? Like just in squabbles, riots? Hundreds of times,
Hundreds
right?
of times, yeah. Because I'm a guy that lives with trigger things. There's things that you say or do or body language that the minute that happens, I'm getting on you.
Yeah.
You know, just the minute it happens, right? So.
Do the Nazi lowriders have swastikas? Like, are you guys like the AB? You have these like uniform tattoos?
Yeah, sometimes you got NLR and you got swastikas. I never got none of the political tattoos because it dawned on me early that was part of the RICO Act.
Right.
Yeah, so I was like, why would I do that? Yeah, and then so the tattoos, not thing. Like in Leavenworth, Benny from the NLR, right? He was there with me. And he wants to take a picture with all the Texas AB, the Dirty White Boys, the Skinheads, all these gang members that are every gang member in Leavenworth. He's got out there for a picture. I tell him I ain't getting in that picture. You got me up.
Smart.
You know, and he goes, well, why not? I said, you're getting in it to represent the you just tried to pull me into,
right?
But I ain't getting it. I got that picture at home right now. Still, it's got all the gang except for me. I told him, you can go get 3 or 4 dudes that ain't gang members and throw them in the picture. I'll get in.
Yeah,
you know, but
yeah,
no.
Evidence you're creating.
Yeah, I'm not giving them that. They got to work for it, man.
Leavenworth. Yeah, we know Leavenworth. We've talked to our good friend Unique on this program. He said Leavenworth. He was there in would have been the 90s. And he said
so he was there with Mac.
Who's Mac?
Big dude, Aryan Brotherhood, one of the top dudes.
Wow.
Yeah.
He said it was so crazy. A bus would pull up twice a week and people would be like, oh, the bus is coming. Go get your showers, because 30 guys new inmates would get off the chain, and then most of them would end up getting stabbed and had to be life flighted out. So everybody would get locked down. Like 25 out of 30 guys.
Yep.
Well, how can one live in conditions like that?
Yeah, it's it's even hard to figure out in hindsight when you got all the facts and you were the one living it and everything. You still ask yourself how.
Yeah,
something we have an internal instinct for survival.
Sure,
humankind does. It's our nature. So something just clicks inside you. It just clicks. And my brother asked me, like I said, with my brother this morning, he asked me, and he just looks at me serious. He goes, look, man, I've seen you get into it with guys I know can whoop you and win. And he asked me why. I told him, Johnny, I stacked the deck. Period.
What's that mean?
Well, I told him they can't outthink me. They can outfight me. If I had a problem with somebody on that corner right now, just like a gunslinger in the old days, before I get to that corner to handle it, I've already seen where the sun is. I've already mapped out what I'm going to do. Every advantage I can take, I've already put in play, and it's automatic in my head. So when that guy gets there, and he may be that tough, but now he can't see, how tough is he if he's blind? And all these little things that I put in play that you don't see, and I whoop him because I stacked the deck. And I go, that's how I've lived my life. I stack the deck. I think it through. I think it all the way through, and I think it through to the end. So there's disadvantages to with me that you don't see. Yeah, that's just the truth.
What you kind of glossed over after you caught your big meth case. You never got caught for the blow, though. That was an awesome story. I wish you would have shoehorned that in earlier in the episode. That was hilarious. No, I like how it was funny how it played out. But you never got caught for blow?
They knew about it.
They did.
Yeah, they like the FBI left no stone unturned. And when them and the DEA, because they came to Hawaii and they came in, and I'm going to plead guilty. So part of the pleading guilty thing is I sit down and I cop to it. So I copped to it. Nobody went down. No, none of the Mexicans in my case went down.
Yeah.
Nobody. It ended with me.
Did any of your workers, any of the women you had working for you?
I cut them all loose. Well, they didn't get caught. My 2 cousins that were at the house that did all the shipping and everything for me. I just looked at the dude, man, the DEA right there. I said, you got me. What's the point in keeping them? Why even them? He goes, they locked them down in the hole with me so they could do their thing. But they let them back. They let them out.
Wow. So they didn't have to do any time.
Nope. Oh. And they don't know. I don't think they realize how lucky that is.
Yeah, for sure.
In the feds.
Yeah.
But I think another big reason, too, is that the DEA in Hawaii contacted the DEA in Las Vegas and asked them to do this. And the paperwork says this. It says that they were called, they were asked to do this, and that they got me at the house with 5 pounds, and then they hit my other house and an additional 20 pounds was found from the ongoing investigation of that, the 25 pounds. And that's when they told me the weed.
Yeah.
Don't even worry about that.
Sure. Yeah. So, God, your brother-in-law snitched on you. Whatever happened to him? Are you still married? No, you're not even married to his sister anymore.
No, it was my sister. She was married to him.
Oh.
She divorced him.
Okay.
She divorced him. But here's the thing. They got kids. Okay. So when I told my sister that I'm f***ing him off, my sister said, look, you can do anything you want to my husband. He goes, but she goes, can you spare the father of my kids? She goes, I don't care. How I view it doesn't matter, but how them kids are going to look at you as their uncle killing their dad.
Pull Michael Corleone and kill your sister's husband.
Yeah. So, you know what I mean? So, I mean, and she had a point too. And right now I'm really good friends with Mesa and her kids.
Right.
You know, they know everything now, you know?
Wow.
So that relationship I have with those kids now is priceless.
That's good.